Hey there, Jazz Cats. Mr. Nickel here with the instruction video for the tune Freddie Freeloader, Phase 1 of practice. Let me just start out by saying that if you have not been able to check out the Miles Davis recording of Freddie Freeloader, please stop this video right now and go listen to it. One of the keys to your success in jazz improvisation is listening to recordings. So, go check out that recording. That said, if you have listened to it, you are in the right place to begin Phase 1 of your improvisation practice for Freddie Freeloader. In Phase 1, we're going to be covering how to learn the roots of the chord progression that is played for Freddie Freeloader. So in this, we're learning a couple of things. So in Phase 1, we're going to be addressing the form, and we're going to be addressing the roots of the chords in the form's chord progression. So what you should have in front of you is you should have a practice guide sheet that I have created. Make sure that you are looking at the one that's appropriate for your instrument. So for example, I'm playing tenor sax, and so I know that that is what we call a B-flat instrument. So I'm looking at the B-flat instrument page. And there are multiple different transpositions, so make sure that you have the appropriate one for your instrument. And if you need help knowing what transposition you should be reading off of, please don't be shy and ask for some help to make sure that you've got the right page in front of you. All right, so that being said, you're looking at this, and we're going to be figuring out two things. One is the form of the chord progression, and we're figuring out what the actual chord progression is. So I'm going to pull up that tune, Freddie Freeloader. You can find it on YouTube. Spotify, all the places. So I'm just pulling it up really quick just to take a listen. Now that I've listened to it a little bit, figure out what the form is. 3, 2, 3, 4. I'm listening for a repeat. Hasn't repeated quite yet. 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12. And that was the repeat. So I was able to count 12 bars before the actual melody itself repeated. And 12 is a very common, it's a very common amount of measures for a tune to last. All right, and then they go and repeat that again. So we know that this is a 12-bar form. And I'm going to specifically tell you that this is what's called a blues form. So in the blues, we have 12 measures in the form, and those are divided into 3 groups of 4 measures each. So you heard it. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 da, 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 do, do. So 3 different phrases that were a part of that. So the blues form, all right? Now, what we need to get going with in this is, once you're familiar with the form, and you can feel how that form lays out, it's time to start memorizing roots. And I say memorize. You can look at the sheet, but our ultimate goal is to be able to play off the page. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to look at part A on the practice guide, where it says memorize the roots. All right, you're welcome to do this with just a metronome, or you can do it with a backing track. One is provided in the folder, or you can just search on YouTube Freddie Freeloader play along or backing track, and you can find one. So I'm going to pull one up here so you can get a feel how this sounds, and I'm just going to play those roots in whole notes, just as written on the page. And I'm going to play this for you now. Here we go. And I can play through that multiple times until, as said, I can play that from memory. I want to be able to look away from the sheet and be able to play all of those roots from memory. Etc. all the way through the form of the tune. Okay, so having it in this organization will help you memorize this stuff faster. If I know that it's in 12 bars and I know what the first phrase looks like, the first four, then the second four, and the third four, it's easier for me to memorize it that way. So once I've got this memorized, once I can check off part A of phase one, I can move on to the B part. And the B part is starting to add some musicality to it. So there are a lot of different things that I can do with this. Just to share a few with you, I wrote out some ideas of things that you can do to add some musicality to your line here, even with just one note that you're playing. All right? It's not about how many notes you play, it's about how you play every single note. So I could play one note and just put a lot of swag, a lot of swing on each and every note. If I'm playing it in the groove, it's going to feel awesome. Another idea for you is a repetitive sequence. So I can create a rhythm, make it rhythmically interesting. All right, another helpful thing to help us listeners know that you really know the form is you can play a half step above or below. So in the example of concert B flat, I can play a half step below, which one down the chromatic scale is a concert A natural. And I can do that with any of these roots that I am playing. All right? So make things rhythmically interesting. Think about the inflection that you're playing every single note with. How are you expressing this one note? And if you find an idea that you like, don't be shy and repeat it. So I'm going to play what is written right now on excerpt B. You can play this until you memorize it and see what kind of things you observe about this. So let me go back to the backing track here. So you see how things can really start to happen even with just knowing a few notes and a few improvisation tricks up your sleeve. So practice that a couple of times until that starts to become comfortable to you. And then it's your turn. In part C, your job your assignment is to take the notes that you learned in part A of phase 1 and add some things to make it more interesting and expressive of you. So think about how you're going to express each note that you play, the inflections, vibrato, scoops. Think about what's called chromaticism, which is approaching notes by a half step above or below. And think about making it rhythmically interesting. And if you have an idea that you really like, repeat it so that the audience knows that it wasn't just by chance that you came up with this cool idea. So see what you can come up with, and if you'd like me to listen, I'm happy to listen. If you have any questions of me, you can always reach out to me by phone, 435-781-3140, extension 1836. Or you can email me at andrew.nickel@uinta.net. Again, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any more questions about this content, please feel free to leave a comment and I can explain things. If you dig this material and find it helpful, go ahead and give a like and subscribe to the channel. Have a great day, everybody. Keep swinging.